I'm in southern Illinois. I'm riding the TransAmerica route, the Eastern Third, from Carbondale, Illinois to Yorktown, Virginia. It's on Chesapeake Bay, saltwater, so I guess that's the ocean. It's gonna take me about 3 weeks to get to Yorktown, Virginia. They used to call it the Bicentennial Route in honor of 1976, America's bicentennial year. That year, hundreds of bikers in groups of 10 and 12 rode across the country to commemorate America's 200th birthday. So we're following the footsteps of all those bicentennials. I just got to get over the Appalachians, that's all. Yeah, the Ozarks were nothing. Appalachians are tough. Anyway, bikers travel this route every year, and I'm sure it's good for the local economy. So these little local towns, they love the bikers. Just watch out for dogs, that's all. Because the dogs love the bikers too, but for a different reason. All right, good Monday morning. It is May 31st. It's Memorial Day. This is day one of my 2021 bike tour expedition, and I'm headed east. But I started this morning from my home near Anna, just south of Carbondale, and I'm headed to Golconda tonight. It's about a 45-mile day. I'm just gonna start off easy. You know, it's been a while. I'm not quite in touring shape yet, so I'm gonna ease into this thing. But it's a beauty day to bike tour. Temperatures are in the 70s and it's sunny. It's a nice first day back bike touring. But I started this morning on the Trail of Tears. Went past the campground cemetery. It was an old Indian camp, and some of the Native Americans that were walking the Trail of Tears are buried there. A sad chapter in the Native American history. Went through Vienna. Yeah, that's how you say it, Vienna. Supposedly it's the bicycle capital of Illinois. It's where the Tunnel Hill Trail crosses the Trail of Tears. I went past the Grantsburg Swamp. It's a nice example of southern Illinois wetland, if you're into that sort of thing. It's a great day here in the Shawnee Forest, southern Illinois. All right, it is Tuesday morning. It's June 1st, and this is day 2. Stayed last night in Golconda, another happy little town on the Ohio River. Headed to Cave-in Rock, where I'm going to catch the ferry over to Kentucky. It'll be another short day, about 45 miles. So it's supposed to be cool and cloudy all day, 20% chance of rain. So that's not too bad. It's better than hot and humid. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain. It's just east of Elizabethtown, E-Town. Yeah, it's a nice little town on the Ohio. An old hotel there called the Rose Hotel. Been there a long time. It's a beautiful view on the river. Met a group of 4 bikers back there in E-Town. They were headed west. They left Virginia about 3 weeks ago. Well, that's where I'm going. I think it'll take me about 3 weeks to get there. But anyway, I gotta get down the road. I woke up this morning a little bit sore, kind of still out of shape. I want to ease into this ride nice and slow. I want to burn on my legs here in the first couple days. Yeah. But it's a good warm-up for the mountains to come, because I know they're coming. It is Thursday, June the 3rd. I crossed the Ohio River at Cave-in Rock, made my way into Kentucky. I'm in the Bluegrass state now. I stayed at the Iris Inn in Marion, Kentucky last night. It's a nice little B&B, and I'm headed east. But I'm on my way to Utica today. It's gonna be about a 75-mile day. Had a little storm this morning. I don't mind the rain, but the lightning is pretty unforgiving. But the weather this afternoon should be pretty nice. Highs in the 70s, not bad. I stayed an extra night in Marion just to give my legs a rest. And yesterday the weather was gonna be bad, so I decided to just hang out and let the weather pass and give my legs a break. But I'm just chilling here on the side of the road, and I gotta get rolling. Rolling through the hills of western Kentucky. Can you hear the cicadas? They say this is the year of the cicada. Just starting to hear the whirring. It is Friday, June 4th, and this is day 4. I'm in western Kentucky. Last night I stayed in Utica, and tonight I plan on making it to Falls of Rough. Started out a beautiful day today. Nice and cool, a little bit of fog in the valleys. Real pretty morning. I love getting miles done early in the morning when it's cool. Try to beat the heat, you know. TransAmerica route takes you through western Kentucky through some pretty rural sections. Even though it's a rural area, there's still a lot of people. The roads are pretty narrow and there's not much of a shoulder. And where there is a shoulder, there's usually a rumble strip. I don't think there's two other words that aggravate a bicycle rider more than rumble strip. Maybe chasing dog, but that's western Kentucky. Rumble strips and chasing dogs. So far I haven't been chased by any dogs. Anyway, I'm in western Kentucky and I'm just rolling down the road. Got those western Kentucky rollers. Well, all right, it's the end of day 4 and I'm at Falls of Rough. Unfortunately, there were no hotels available, so I'm camping out. That's why I always bring a tent with me. You know, I'd rather stay at a hotel, sleep in a bed with air conditioning and all that. You know, hotel's kind of nice. But when there are no hotels, I guess the only alternative is to camp out. So I carry my lightweight tent with me, just in case of situations like this. All right, well, here I am, Falls of Rough. It's pretty nice. Go back to nature, you know. It is Saturday. It's June the 5th, and this is day 5. Stayed last night at Falls of Rough at the campground. Tonight I'm going to Bardstown, my old Kentucky home. It's gonna be about a 75-mile day. Whew. It's a sunny little day. It's in the mid-80s. Normally that'd be good weather, but I'm just not used to this heat. The sunshine's kicking my butt. I guess Kentucky has their share of the Amish folks as well. Traveling through the western Kentucky Amish country. See some Amish buggies out this morning. But I'm just rolling across one hill after another here in western Kentucky, moving on down the road. You know, in Kentucky, when the trees get too big, they just use a mower and mow the trees. They just use a tree mower. Good Monday morning. It's June the 7th, and this is day 6. I'm heading east through Kentucky. I stayed in Bardstown last night, and today I'm headed to Berea. It's gonna be about a 75-mile day. It's cloudy, and they're calling for thunderstorms, so I gotta head down the road. But that's the funny thing about weather. Every day you're gonna have some. Sometimes the weather's perfect, but usually it's not. Sometimes it's either too hot or too cold, too wet or too dry, but it's almost never just right. It's not all sunshine and tailwinds, you know. Went past the Lincoln Boyhood Home. It's under construction. I don't think Abe lives there anymore. But even though Illinois is the land of Lincoln, he was born in Kentucky, and so Kentucky tries to claim him as their own anyway. After Berea, then the hills get big. See you down the road. Well, today's Wednesday, it's June the 9th, and this is day 7. It's pouring rain right now, but about halfway to Boonville. I started in Berea this morning and it wasn't raining, but I'm gonna make it to Boonville no matter what, rain or not. Supposedly there's a cyclist-only campground right there behind the Presbyterian church there in Boonville, and that's where I plan to stay as long as there's a roof and I can be out of the rain. I hate camping in the rain. But it's definitely getting more hilly. We're getting out of the Bluegrass part of Kentucky and into the mountains. Get out of horse country and into coal country. Right now it's just rain country. But that's all right. I've got all my clothes packed in plastic. Anything that can get wet is packed in plastic. All my camera equipment, anything electronic. My weatherproofing system is really being tested today. So far so good. It's all wet on the outside, but it's still bone dry on the inside. And that's the important thing. Wow, it's really coming down now. Finally stopped raining, which is nice. Yeah, it's been a rainy little day. I don't mind the rain, but I stayed warm and I didn't get hit by lightning and I didn't get hit by a car, which was nice. Stayed nice and cool. I'd rather have the rain than the heat, you know, if I had to choose. Yeah, as long as all my stuff stays dry, you know. Anyway, this is Kentucky horse country. We're not far from Lexington, which is the home of the Kentucky Derby. So there's lots of horse farms all over this part of Kentucky. I came through part of the Daniel Boone National Forest. All right, it's the end of day 7, and I made it to Booneville. I'm staying here at the Presbyterian Church. Out back there's a pavilion. It's a cyclist-only campground. Pretty nice. Anyway, so I got chased by a couple of dogs today. Only I don't think they were chasing me. It looked more like they were looking for someone to play with. I think they got tired of chasing bikers and wanted to be chased by a biker. So this dog let me chase him. Got chased by a dog, but he didn't seem too mean. He looked more like he wanted to play than kill. Yeah, I got chased by a couple of dogs. Not too bad though. Nothing mean. Nothing real serious. But not all dogs are bad dogs. They're not all mean. I was climbing up this hill, just kind of grunting along at about 4 miles an hour. And this young dog jumps out of the woods. Looks like a little German shepherd. He just wants to play. He doesn't want to bite anybody. So he got in front of me. I almost ran him over, but I had to stop. And then he was just being a real friendly dog. Just wanted to be petted and wanted to play. So he followed me for a couple of miles, which didn't bother me too bad. He stayed out in front and came across some dogs that were barking at me from the other side of the bushes. And this little dog that was my friend, he started barking at the dogs that were barking at me. It was almost like he was telling those other dogs to leave me alone. And then as we got down the road, he stayed behind me, and it was almost like he was acting like a shield between me and those bad dogs. So yeah, not all dogs are bad dogs. Some dogs are good dogs. You just never know. But Kentucky is known for dogs. But remember, they're not all mean. Wow, it's Thursday, it's June the 10th, and this is day 8, heading east on the TransAmerica. Stayed last night in Booneville, behind the Presbyterian Church. Slept on a picnic bench under a pavilion. Met a biker named Mike. He's headed east, going a lot faster than me though, so he headed down the road. But it started off this morning kind of misty, kind of drizzly, but nice and cool. I'm headed to Hazard tonight, good old Hazard County. But it's getting hilly. Hills are getting higher and steeper, heading into the mountains. That's why I'm taking short days. Today's just gonna be a 50-mile day to Hazard. Headed up into the hills and hollers of eastern Kentucky. It's Sunday morning and this is day 9. It's gonna be a short day today. Starting in Hazard and I'm headed to Hinman. Started off real foggy this morning, but the fog burned off. But it's Sunday morning in eastern Kentucky. And it sounds like everybody's gone to church. I stayed at the Baptist Church in Hindman. It's a real nice hostel. In the basement of the church, it was really cool. They've got showers and laundry. Way to go, Pastor Steve. Wow. All right, it is Monday, June the 14th, and this is day 10. I stayed in Hindman last night, and today I'm headed to Elkhorn City. It's gonna be about 65 miles or so, some brutal hills. It's been said that this is probably the toughest section on the TransAmerica route, eastern Kentucky through the Appalachians. And I believe it. This is a tough section. It's just hill after hill after hill, very steep grades. I'm about halfway up a brutal hill right now. It's tough. Be hard pressed to find a 6-day section that's harder than this. Once I get over the Blue Ridge, it'll be a different story. I could see why disc brakes could come in handy on hills like this, especially if the roads are wet. The other day it was raining, and when the roads get wet and you're coming down a big hill and all you have are rim brakes, yeah, it's bad news. So I was coming down this wet hill and I hit the brakes and there was nothing. So I had to deploy the Fred Flintstone brakes. Yeah, put my foot on the ground and slowed my bike. Yeah, it's a hot little day here in eastern Kentucky. It's like a Mountain Dew commercial, but litter everywhere. Wow. All right, it is Tuesday, June the 15th. This is day 11, and I'm headed east. Last night I stayed in Elkhorn City, and today I plan on going to Council. It's gonna be kind of a short day, maybe 40 miles or so, but there's still some pretty big hills. In Elkhorn City, there's a pizza place called Time Out Pizza. It sits right next to the river. So the owner of the pizza place allows cyclists to camp out next to the river right behind the pizza place. It's really nice. But we are in the heart of the Appalachians right now, in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. But I'm taking a break here at Breaks Interstate Park. It straddles the state line between Kentucky and Virginia. It's real pretty. It's nestled right in the mountains. I've got just a couple more days to get through these mountains. Once I get on the other side of the Blue Ridge, it'll be smooth sailing. I keep reminding myself how strong my legs are going to be once I get over these mountains. Yeah, bike touring is hard, especially this part of Kentucky and Virginia. But I think that's one of the reasons I like it, because it's hard. But I'm just taking it easy, heading east on the TransAmerica route. Good morning. It is Wednesday, June the 16th, and this is day 12. Yesterday I crossed into Virginia. They say Virginia's for lovers. That's probably why I feel a little out of place. I stayed at Council, Virginia last night. There's a city park there with a shelter. They got a swimming pool and a shower if you get there early enough. But there's no store, so you better bring some food. But I'm headed to Damascus today. I've got reservations there at a cabin. I'm gonna take a day off, rest my legs. Today I got 2 really big hills and about 4 medium hills. These hills are pretty steep, so it's gonna be a hilly day. Not a real long day, maybe about 55 miles or so. Welcome to Virginia. This part of the mountains of Virginia and Kentucky, you gotta watch out for coal trucks and logging trucks. These guys are making a living, and I think they get paid by the load. But it's their road, so be careful. Riding on the Helen Henderson Highway. She must have been a popular lady, because every bike tourist that comes this way learns about Helen Henderson. I'm taking a break here at the top of the first hill of several for the day. The hills in these parts can be very challenging. They're at least 6 to 8% grade, probably more than that. I certainly don't try to race up these hills. I take my time and I take lots of breaks. I'll stop when I'm out of breath so I can catch my breath. I don't want to burn out my legs this early in the day. But I got many more hills to climb, and so I better get after it. All right. It's a nice shady spot to dip your toes in a nice cool creek. Yeah, every once in a while you gotta find a shady spot to catch your breath and let the blood drain out of your legs. I love a road by a creek, but I always feel bad for the creek. Whew. Good morning. It is Friday, June the 18th. This is day 13 on the eastern TransAmerica route. Stayed last night in Damascus, and today I'm headed for Wytheville. It's about 65 miles with 3 big hills and a bunch of little hills. Should be a tough day, but I took a day off in Damascus yesterday. Rest up, get some fresh legs, get ready for these big hills. Damascus is kind of a granola town, you know what I mean. It's where the Appalachian Trail crosses the TransAmerica bike route. So you've got a mixture of hikers and bikers. In Damascus, there's the Virginia Creeper biking trail. It's a real popular trail, and I'm headed up to Mount Rogers. Where you see vines growing all over the trees, that's probably kudzu. Kudzu is an exotic plant. They planted it on purpose to control erosion. Unfortunately, it takes over everything. And where you had an ecosystem with 50 or 60 species, now it's just covered in kudzu. Sometimes people compare the Appalachian Mountains to the Ozarks in Missouri. Now the Ozarks are pretty steep, the hills aren't quite as high, but you could probably get through the Ozarks in 3-4 days. On the TransAmerica route across the Appalachians, take you about 6 days to get across. I figure it's about twice as hard as the Ozarks, and the hills are a little higher. People want to compare the Appalachian Mountains to the Rocky Mountains. Big differences. For one, the Rocky Mountains are a lot higher, so there's more elevation. But the Appalachian Mountains, at least the roads, are steeper. They're tougher to climb. Now, they're not as long. Out in the Rockies, it seems like the roads are more graded, and so they're not quite as steep. But the elevation will kick your butt in the Rockies. Once I get to about 8,000 feet above sea level, I have a hard time breathing. Of course, I'm a lowlander, so that might make a difference. But here in the Appalachians, you don't have to deal with elevation like that. Just relatively short and steep hills compared to the Rockies. Maybe we should talk a minute about restless leg syndrome. I think I have it. But if bike touring doesn't cure your restless leg syndrome, nothing will. I promise you that. You don't have to take medication for restless leg syndrome. Just go for a bike tour. That should cure it. But I think that's why I like bike touring so much, because I have restless legs. But I'm just taking a break here on the Virginia Creeper Trail. It's a beautiful spot right next to a creek, getting ready to climb some big hills.
Hi there.
How's it going? It's a nice day, huh?
It is.
Yep.
Have a good one.
You too. Enjoy.
Got the same map.
Yep. You know, there's other ways to get across the country, but this is a very popular bicycle route. So the advantage of taking this route is you're going to meet other bikers. And the route is set up for bikers, and so there's lots of hostels. A lot of little towns are set up for biking. It's real biker friendly. The TransAmerica route is not always the most direct route, though. In a lot of places, it seems like it just takes you out of the way, over hills for no reason. It definitely takes you off the beaten track. Sometimes that's good, but the scenery's nice. You can always take the TransAmerica route and modify it as needed. If you do take this route, I highly recommend that you buy the map set. The adventure cycling maps are a little bit expensive, but they're chock full of information, valuable information. It is Saturday morning, June 19th, and this is day 14. I stayed in Wytheville, Virginia last night, and today I'm headed for Christiansburg. Should be about 55 miles or so. So I went through this really cool old town called New Bern. It's on the Wilderness Road. Dates back to like the 1810s. There's a nice museum there. Got the original Pulaski County Courthouse there. But it's another nice sunny day in Virginia, and I'm heading east. Moving down the road. Good morning. It's Monday morning. This is June 21st. And this is day 15. It's the solstice. So this is the longest day of the summer. Got a lot of hours to ride. Last night I stayed in Christiansburg, and tonight I'm headed for Daleville. It's gonna be a warm one today. Upper 80s, low 90s. But it's not gonna be a real long day. So I'm gonna try to get most of my miles done this morning while it's still cool. I'm gonna go through the Catawba Valley, a real scenic area in Virginia. Rolling farmland, real pretty. But here we are in Virginia. But yeah, this is the real America. If you really want to see the real America, you need to take a bike trip on the TransAmerica route. You'll be riding right across America's front porch. So which would you rather have? A rainy day or a hot day? You know, I had about 5 days of rain in Kentucky. It got pretty soggy. And then after that, when the sun came out, it got hot. And I was wishing for that rain. So I don't know. You can complain about the rain, but it sure keeps it cool. The sunshine's nice as long as the heat and humidity's not too high. But on a hot, humid day, I'm hoping for some cloud cover. Keep the sun off. And maybe even a few raindrops feel good sometimes. Wow, it is Tuesday. It's June the 22nd, and this is day 16. I spent last night in Daleville, and tonight I'm headed to Lexington. It's gonna be another short to medium day, but I'm gearing up for a big climb tomorrow. Anyway, it started off as a rainy day today. Yeah, it's still drizzling a little bit, but the weatherman promised that all this rain would clear out by this afternoon. I'm sitting right next to the interstate highway, so there's not a whole lot to see. Following a frontage road into Lexington. All right, whew. It's Wednesday morning. It's June 23rd, and this is day 17. Last night I stayed in Lexington, Virginia, and tonight I'm gonna be up on the Parkway. It's gonna be a gorgeous day today. Perfect day for climbing hills. Gotta go up over the Blue Ridge Parkway. Once I get up over the Parkway, it's nearly level all the way to the coast. But it's a tough hill. It's about 4 miles up with some grades over 8%. But I don't care as long as I get over it, even if I have to push my bike. But there should be cabins or camping up on the Blue Ridge. I'm not sure. We'll find something. Anyway, it's time to climb. And this is the big one. So if this one don't kill me, I think I'm in pretty good shape. But here we go. See you at the top. The scenery along the Blue Ridge Parkway is some of the best in the country. I talked to several bikers that said that was the highlight of their ride. Take a ride on the Blue Ridge. It's still day 17, and I'm on the Blue Ridge Parkway. The Blue Ridge Parkway is a national park, but it's a road. There's no commercial vehicles allowed. It's just rolling hills, one after another. Trans Am takes you on the Blue Ridge Parkway for just a little bit, just enough to get a taste. It's kind of a nice view, huh? Yeah, so I'm on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Here we go. Thursday, it's June the 24th, and this is day 18. I had to stay in Waynesboro last night. I didn't want to, but when I got to Rockfish Gap, which is mile 0 on the Blue Ridge, there weren't many options. After sizing up all my options, I decided the best bet was to just go into Waynesboro and get a motel. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but it was the best idea. But I met Michael from Colorado. Good guy. But it's gonna be another gorgeous day. Highs in the 70s, low humidity, and blue sky. So I'm headed to Charlottesville today. It's gonna be a short day, only about 30 miles. I'm gonna take it easy today and plan out the final days of this trip. So after Charlottesville, I figure I got about 3 days to the coast. Gonna stop and say hi to the cookie lady, June Curry. Of course, she's not around anymore. But June Curry, AKA the cookie lady, is like the patron saint of trail angels. Since the original Bike Centennial ride in 1976, the cookie lady's been handing out cookies and hosting bikers ever since. She's put up more bikers than probably anybody along the TransAmerica route. She's since passed on, but she's just affectionately remembered, and I think I'm gonna stop by her place and pay a little homage to her. All right, it is Friday, June the 25th, and this is day 19. Last night I stayed in Charlottesville. Today I'm headed for Ashland. I should be in Williamsburg tomorrow, and then Yorktown the next day. I'm in Virginia. Only a few days left on the TransAmerica. I'm making a mad dash for the coast. Good morning. It is Sunday, June the 27th, and this is day 20 on my way to Yorktown. Last night I stayed in Ashland. Today I'm going to get to Williamsburg. It's going to be a long, hot day. About 80 plus miles, temperatures in the 90s, very humid, heat index around 100. So this will probably be the longest, hottest day of the trip. That's all right. I got an early start this morning. Going to try to get most of my riding done in the cool of the morning. And there are no big hills. The terrain here is pretty level. That'll make for a short day tomorrow on my way to Yorktown, and that'll finish up the ride. There's a lot of Civil War history in this area. I rode through the Cold Harbor National Battlefield. It's a national park that commemorates a Civil War battle. So I'm headed through Williamsburg today. There's a lot of history there from the colonial days. And so people dress up like the 1700s and act like it's a revolution all over again. It's kind of fun to step back in history and relive the colonial days. I got into Williamsburg late. The last 40 miles or so was on the Virginia Capitol Trail. Nice paved bike path that followed the road right into Williamsburg. Yeah, the nice thing about that Virginia Capitol Trail is it's mostly tree lined, which means most of it is shaded. And on a hot day, riding in shade really helps. It's Monday morning. It's June the 28th, and this is day 21. This is my last day on the TransAmerica. I stayed in Williamsburg last night, and I'm just 13 miles from Yorktown and the end of the trail. I'm riding the Colonial Parkway, and right now it's like rush hour. There's cars everywhere. It's one of the craziest roads I've ever been on. They made it bumpy on purpose. I'm not sure why, other than I guess it looks cool. But now it really is a mad dash to the sea. I'm only about 10 miles away. I'll see you in Yorktown. All right, I'm in Yorktown, Virginia, and that's Chesapeake Bay behind me. It's not exactly the Atlantic Ocean, but it is saltwater, and this is the end of the trail for now. Actually, this is the beginning of the trail. It's also the beginning of American democracy. So in honor of the patriotic men and women that gave us our freedom, I'm not just pursuing happiness, I'm trying to chase it down. So this is where the trail ends for me, but the adventure's not over. My plan is to head up to Washington, D.C. and catch the C&O. I am exercising my freedom. The Adventure Cycling TransAmerica route is an awesome way to ride your bike across the country. It's probably not the easiest route or the most direct, but it is probably the most traveled route by cyclists. So if you want to see America and meet bikers from all over the world, and follow in the wheel tracks of the original bicentennial riders in 1976. If you want to challenge yourself on some of the toughest cycling hills, then the TransAmerica route's a must-do. So go have yourself an adventure and ride the TransAmerica bike route from sea to shining sea. And believe me, you'll create a lifetime worth of memories. So thanks for watching. Now go ride your bike. So here I am in Yorktown, the end of the TransAmerica Trail. This may be the end of the trail, but it's not the end of the journey. The journey continues. My plan is to head up to Washington, D.C. and catch the C&O. That's the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal Trail. From the C&O, I'm going to take the Gap. That's the Greater Allegheny Passage Trail. It's a rail trail. And between the two of them, the C&O and the Gap, it connects Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is the beginning of the Ohio River. So I'm going to follow the Ohio River all the way home to southern Illinois. So stay tuned. There's more adventure to come.